Kevin Costner revealed the 7 actresses he loved the most. Few actors have built a career on genuine chemistry with their leading ladies quite like Kevin Costner. For nearly 4 decades, the rugged star has created some of cinema's most memorable romantic pairings, bringing an authentic warmth and connection that transcends typical Hollywood performances. Costner has a rare quality as a leading man, revealed a longtime director who has worked with him on multiple films. He genuinely cares about the women he works with, not just as actresses, but as people. He fights for them behind the scenes, champions their performances in press interviews, and creates a safe space for emotional vulnerability on set. That's why his on-screen romances feel so authentic. There's real respect underneath the performance. What makes Costner's relationships with his female co-stars particularly noteworthy is how consistently he has lifted them up throughout his career. In an industry often defined by competition and ego, Costner has repeatedly used his star power to ensure his leading ladies receive equal billing, fair treatment, and the opportunity to shine, even when studio executives pushed for younger or more commercially viable alternatives. When Costner believes in an actress, he goes to war for her, explained a casting director who worked on several of his major films. I've seen him threaten to walk away from multi-million-dollar projects if studios tried to replace his chosen co-star with someone they thought was more marketable. That kind of loyalty is almost unheard of at his level of stardom, especially when it comes to male stars fighting for female colleagues. Most revealing are Costner's own words about the actresses who have meant the most to him professionally and personally. In interviews spanning decades, he has spoken with unusual candor about the women who challenged him, inspired him, and created magical moments alongside him on screen. These aren't just polite professional acknowledgments, but heartfelt tributes that reveal which creative partnerships truly touched his heart. What distinguishes Costner from many leading men is his comfort with emotional honesty, observed a film critic who has interviewed him multiple times. When he talks about the actresses he's worked with, there's no pretense or canned responses. He speaks from a place of genuine appreciation for what each woman brought to their shared work, the specific qualities that made their on-screen relationships feel real to audiences. In the following minutes, we'll explore 7 extraordinary actresses who earned Costner's deepest admiration, women whose talent, strength, and authentic presence created cinematic magic when paired with Hollywood's quintessential leading man. These aren't just professional collaborations, but profound connections that shaped Costner's career and in some cases his personal life as well. But first, let's understand how a singer with no significant acting experience became not only Costner's most iconic co-star, but someone he would champion, protect, and ultimately eulogize with words of deep and lasting love.
Whitney was scared. Arguably the biggest pop star in the world wasn't sure if she was good enough.
1. Whitney Houston, a bond beyond the bodyguard. When Kevin Costner fought to cast Whitney Houston as his leading lady in 1992's The Bodyguard, few in Hollywood understood his vision. Houston was a musical superstar but an unproven actress. Studio executives pushed for established actresses, but Costner held firm, delaying the project for over a year until Houston's touring schedule allowed her to take the role. Costner saw something in Whitney that others missed, explained a producer associated with the film. It wasn't just her obvious beauty or star quality. He recognized a natural vulnerability beneath her confident public persona that perfectly suited the character of Rachel Marin. He bet his own career capital on her potential, which was an extraordinary act of faith given her limited acting experience. This faith manifested in practical support throughout production. Knowing Houston felt insecure about her acting abilities, Costner became her on-set champion, working with her after hours, creating a protective environment where she could take emotional risks, and shielding her from the intense scrutiny that came with her first major film role. Their relationship quickly transcended typical co-star dynamics, noted a crew member from the production. Costner became something between a mentor, protector, and genuine friend. He understood the pressure Whitney faced as a black woman entering a predominantly white industry, as a singer trying to prove herself as an actress, and as a superstar whose every move was scrutinized. He created a safe space for her on set that allowed her authentic talent to shine through. This protection extended to one of the film's most iconic moments, When Huston expressed insecurity about appearing on camera without makeup in the film's final scene, Costner personally assured her that her natural beauty would create the perfect vulnerable note to end their story. Against significant pressure, he championed her performance of "I Will Always Love You" without musical accompaniment for the first verse, a creative decision that helped make it one of the best-selling singles of all time. What made their connection so special wasn't just what happened on camera, but Costner's unwavering support long after the film wrapped, said an industry insider close to both stars. As Whitney's personal challenges became more public, Costner never distanced himself or made self-serving comments about her struggles. Instead, he reached out privately, offering support while respecting her privacy. This loyalty culminated in one of the most poignant moments of Huston's funeral in 2012, when Costner delivered a eulogy that moved millions. Speaking through tears, he shared intimate stories of their time working together, revealing the depth of their friendship and his enduring belief in her extraordinary gifts. "You weren't just pretty, you were as beautiful as a woman could be," Costner said in his eulogy. "People didn't just like you, Whitney, they loved you." He concluded with the simple, heartfelt words, "I will always love you," echoing the song that had defined their on-screen relationship. That funeral speech revealed what those closest to them already knew, observed the film historian. Costner and Huston shared a bond that transcended Hollywood's typical temporary alliances. He didn't just protect her on screen, he protected her legacy. Even in death, he made sure the world remembered her talent, her light, and her struggle, rather than just her tragic end. For Costner, no subsequent leading lady would quite capture the special magic of his partnership with Huston, a collaboration that produced not just a blockbuster film, but one of cinema's most iconic love stories, and a friendship that endured until her final day.
Where you going?
After 12 years in the minor leagues, I don't try out. Besides, I don't believe in quantum physics when it comes to matters of the heart.
What do you believe in then?
2. Susan Sarandon, chemistry that transcended the screen. When Kevin Costner and Susan Sarandon created baseball's sexiest love story in 1988's Bull Durham, they established a new template for on-screen romance, one based on intellectual sparring, mutual respect, and smoldering attraction between equals. Their chemistry as minor league catcher Crash Davis and baseball groupie Annie Savoy generated such authentic heat that it sparked decades of rumors about an off-screen relationship as well. What Costner found in Sarandon was his perfect on-screen counterpart, explained a film critic who has written extensively about their collaboration. She matched him beat for beat, her intelligence, confidence, and sexuality creating the rare female character who doesn't just support the male hero's journey, but has an equally compelling journey of her own. Costner has repeatedly cited her as the actress who challenged him most effectively on screen. This mutual challenge created a dynamic rarely seen in Hollywood romances. Rather than the typical power imbalance between male and female leads, Costner and Sarandon established a relationship where neither character dominates. They circle each other as equals, each recognizing in the other a worthy opponent and potential partner. Costner has described Sarandon as the smartest, sexiest woman I've ever acted with, noted the entertainment journalist who interviewed him extensively during this period. What made that statement particularly significant was that it acknowledged both her intellect and her sexuality as equally important qualities. In an industry that often reduces women to either brains or beauty, Costner's appreciation for Sarandon's complete personhood stood out. The rumors of an off-screen romance between the pair have persisted for decades, fueled by their palpable chemistry and certain knowing glances during joint interviews promoting the film. While neither has ever confirmed such a relationship, Costner has spoken with unusual warmth about their time together, suggesting a connection that went beyond typical professional collaboration. There was something magnetic between them that couldn't be fully contained by the script, observed a crew member from the production. The way they looked at each other, even when the cameras weren't rolling, had an intimacy that you can't fake. Whether that translated to an actual relationship, only they know for sure, but the genuine affection and respect between them was unmistakable to everyone on set. What's particularly notable about Costner's admiration for Sarandon is how it has endured long after their work together concluded. In interviews spanning decades, he has consistently named her as one of his favorite co-stars, praising not just her work in their film together, but her courage in taking on controversial roles and advocating for causes she believes in throughout her career. The heat wasn't just acting, it was personal, concluded the film historian. Whether their connection remained strictly professional or briefly became something more, what's clear is that Sarandon represented something special in Costner's career. A woman who matched him in star power, challenged him as an actor, and earned his lasting respect both on and off camera. Their scenes together remain a masterclass in how authentic chemistry can elevate a film from entertaining to unforgettable.
Do you know how old I am?
Care how old you are.
I'm not a girl anymore.
You're the handsomest woman I ever saw.
3. Annette Bening, the dream co-star that almost was. In the pantheon of great cinematic pairings, sometimes the most intriguing are those that never materialized. Despite never sharing the screen in a major film, Kevin Costner has repeatedly named Annette Bening as an actress he deeply admires and would have loved to work with, a dream co-star whose particular talents he has praised in numerous interviews over decades. Costner's admiration for Bening reveals something important about what he values in his leading ladies, explained a casting director with knowledge of several near collaborations between the stars. She embodies a quality he's consistently drawn to, emotional intelligence combined with formidable strength. He once described her as having the kind of quiet power that floors you, which speaks volumes about his appreciation for actresses who can communicate volumes without overplaying a moment. This appreciation has manifested in Costner championing Bening for roles in several of his projects throughout their parallel careers, though scheduling conflicts and other production realities prevented these collaborations from materializing. Most notably, Bening was reportedly Costner's first choice for the female lead in Tin Cup, a role that eventually went to Rene Russo. What Costner responds to in Bening's work is her extraordinary ability to convey complex inner life beneath a controlled exterior, noted a director who has worked with both actors separately. It's a quality that would have complemented Costner's own approach to acting, which similarly relies on suggesting deeper currents beneath a relatively restrained surface. They share an acting philosophy that values authenticity over theatrical display. Despite never working together directly, Costner has gone out of his way in interviews to praise Bening's performances in films like The Grifters, American Beauty, and The Kids Are All Right. These public acknowledgments, unusual for an actor to make about someone he hasn't worked with directly, suggest a professional admiration that transcends typical Hollywood courtesy. "If I could pick a dream co-star I never had, it'd be her," Costner once said when asked about actors he wished he had collaborated with. This statement, made decades into a career filled with remarkable leading ladies, speaks to his enduring respect for Bening's particular gifts as a performer. What makes Costner's admiration for Bening especially interesting is that it's based purely on her talent, rather than any personal relationship, observed the film historian. Unlike his comments about actresses he's actually worked with, which often include anecdotes about their time together, his praise for Bening focuses entirely on her craft and the specific qualities she brings to her performances. It's admiration in its purest professional form. As both actors continue their distinguished careers, the possibility of a Costner-Bening pairing remains an intriguing what-if for cinema lovers, a collaboration between two masters of understated emotional authenticity that could still materialize in the right project. Until then, Costner's consistent praise serves as a reminder that sometimes the deepest professional respect is that which recognizes greatness even without direct collaboration.
Woman I married but can't figure. Doesn't believe there's any world but this one. But still believes a horse has got a soul somehow. That's the gal for me.
4. Diane Lane, aging into cinematic magic. When Kevin Costner and Diane Lane finally shared significant screen time in 2020's Let Him Go, they created the rare on-screen relationship that captures the depth, complexity, and enduring passion of a long-term marriage. Though they had appeared together briefly in 2013's Man of Steel as Superman's adoptive parents, their later collaboration gave them the opportunity to create one of cinema's most authentic portrayals of mature love. Costner has spoken about Lane with a special kind of reverence, noted a journalist who interviewed him during the film's promotion. He described their connection as deep, grounded, and rare, qualities that perfectly suit actors in their 60s, playing characters with decades of shared history. What made their pairing particularly powerful was that both brought the gravity of their own lived experiences to these roles, creating an on-screen marriage that felt genuinely weathered by time and strengthened through hardship. This authentic connection didn't happen by accident. Costner specifically requested Lane for the role in Let Him Go, believing her particular combination of strength and vulnerability would create the perfect partner for his stoic but emotionally wounded character. The resulting chemistry created what many critics considered one of the most compelling aspects of the film. She brings real life to every scene, Costner said of Lane in interviews promoting the film. This simple statement reveals his appreciation for her ability to ground even the most dramatic moments in emotional truth, a quality that aligned perfectly with Costner's own naturalistic approach to performance. What made their pairing especially meaningful was the timing, explained the film historian. Both Costner and Lane have maintained remarkable careers despite Hollywood's notorious ageism, particularly toward women. By creating such a powerful on-screen partnership in their 60s, they demonstrated that romantic chemistry doesn't belong exclusively to younger actors. Their scenes together have a depth and resonance that comes from decades of life experience informing each moment. This resonance is particularly evident in the quiet moments between their characters, glances, small touches, and unspoken communications that suggest decades of intimate knowledge. Costner and Lane achieved the difficult feat of making viewers believe completely in a long-term relationship without needing extensive backstory or exposition. They aged into magic, observed the cultural analyst. What Costner clearly values in Lane is her complete comfort in her own skin. There's no artificial attempt to recapture youth, just the authentic beauty of a woman who has lived fully and brings that rich experience to every frame. His admiration for this quality suggests a refreshing maturity in how he views his female co-stars, appreciating them for exactly who they are, rather than measuring them against some youthful ideal. The success of their partnership in Let Him Go has led to discussions of future collaborations, with both actors expressing interest in finding another project that would allow them to build on the foundation they established. For Costner, Lane represents the ideal scene partner for this stage of his career, an actress whose life experience, technical skill, and emotional authenticity match his own. Their pairing feels like a culmination, concluded the film critic. After decades of playing romantic leads opposite various actresses, Costner found in Lane someone who could match him step for step in creating a love story that acknowledges the complexities of life while still affirming the enduring power of deep connection. Their work together suggests that the most compelling on-screen relationships aren't always the youngest or most conventionally glamorous, but those that reflect genuine human experience in all its complicated beauty.
I shouldn't be penalized for that.
I knew that, Sonny. I'm not the mom of the year type either. I don't know how to pack a lunch. I've never changed a diaper. God help me, the one thing I do understand, Sonny, is football.
5. Jennifer Garner. Unexpected chemistry in the sports world. When Kevin Costner and Jennifer Garner were cast in 2014's Draft Day, few anticipated that their professional relationship would evolve into one of mutual admiration and unexpected on-screen chemistry. As a sports film centered on NFL draft negotiations, the movie didn't initially present itself as a vehicle for meaningful romantic connection, yet Costner and Garner created something special that transcended the film's premise. Costner has spoken about being genuinely surprised by his chemistry with Garner, explained an insider who worked on the production. He called her a total pro and absolutely radiant in interviews, but what colleagues noticed was how their scenes together seemed to energize him in a way that went beyond professional appreciation. There was a spark between them that wasn't necessarily scripted, but emerged organically from their interactions. This spark was particularly remarkable given the film's focus on football operations rather than romance. The relationship between Costner's general manager character and Garner's salary cap analyst could easily have been a perfunctory subplot, but their scenes together became many critics' favorite aspects of the film, moments of authentic connection amid the sports drama. Garner brought something out in Costner that we hadn't seen in some of his other recent performances, noted a film critic who reviewed the movie. There was a playfulness, a kind of boyish charm that emerged in their scenes together. You could see him responding to her natural warmth and intelligence in real time. It wasn't just acting, It was genuine appreciation for a scene partner who was fully present and engaging with him on multiple levels. Costner has been particularly vocal about his admiration for Garner's ability to hold her own in a male-dominated narrative. In a film populated primarily by men discussing football, her character could have been marginalized or reduced to simply supporting the male lead's journey. Instead, Costner repeatedly praised how Garner created a character with her own agency, expertise, and emotional journey. "She made football romantic. That's power," remarked the cultural analyst. What Costner recognized in Garner was her ability to bring authentic feminine energy into traditionally masculine spaces without diminishing either. This balance resonated with Costner, whose best films often explore the integration of stereotypically masculine values like physical courage with more emotionally intelligence and vulnerability. The mutual respect between the actors extended beyond the camera as well. During promotional interviews, observers noted the easy rapport between Costner and Garner, the kind of natural, warm interaction that suggested a genuine friendship had formed during production. This off-screen connection translated into authentic on-screen chemistry that elevated their romantic subplot above typical Hollywood formulaic romance. What's particularly interesting about Costner's admiration for Garner is that she represents a different generation of actress than many of his previous leading ladies, observed the film historian. Their age difference could have created an awkward dynamic, but instead, there was a sense of mutual appreciation. Garner clearly respected Costner's legacy and experience, while he valued her contemporary perspective and approach to the craft. This created a balanced relationship both on and off screen that audiences responded to. While Draft Day may not rank among either actor's most recognized works, their collaboration revealed an unexpected chemistry that left both Costner and audiences wanting more. A reminder that sometimes the most compelling on-screen relationships emerge in the context where they're least expected.
Right. No, just a couple American kids, no unusual travel.
But just a atypical strain of...
6. Rene Russo. The cool factor meets its match. When Kevin Costner and Rene Russo paired up for 1996's Tin Cup, they created a romantic comedy that subverted typical gender dynamics in the genre. As the laid-back, underachieving golf pro Roy McAvoy and the accomplished psychologist Dr. Molly Griswold, they established a relationship where the female lead had equal, and in many ways superior status to her male counterpart, creating a refreshing balance rarely seen in romantic comedies of that era. Costner has often cited Russo as one of the few actresses who could outcool him on screen, noted a director familiar with both performers. He admired her bold presence and the effortless confidence she brought to her roles. In Tin Cup, this quality was essential. Russo needed to create a character whom audiences would believe could both resist Costner's charm and eventually be won over on her own terms, without compromising her independence or intelligence. This admiration manifested in Costner's insistence that Russo's character maintain her professional integrity throughout the film. When earlier drafts of the script suggested her character might compromise her career or values for the romance, Costner reportedly pushed for revisions that would allow both characters to maintain their essential identities while still finding common ground. What Costner responded to in Russo was her ability to be both strong and warm simultaneously, explained the casting director involved with the film. Many actresses can play either quality convincingly, but Russo brought both in equal measure, creating a character who could stand her ground against Costner's charismatic golfer while still revealing genuine vulnerability and eventual affection. This balance was crucial to making their on-screen relationship believable. Costner specifically praised Russo's fearlessness as a performer, her willingness to take risks and push scenes beyond their initial conception. This quality aligned with his own approach to acting, creating a dynamic partnership where both performers felt free to explore different possibilities within their scenes. "She never blinked, and he loved that," observed the film analyst. What Costner appreciated about working with Russo was that she wouldn't be overwhelmed by his star power or defer to his vision of a scene. She brought her own strong perspective, challenging him to rise to her level rather than adjusting herself to accommodate him. This mutual challenge created some of the film's best moments, scenes where both performers are fully engaged and responsive to each other's choices. Beyond her performance abilities, Costner has spoken admiringly about Russo's career choices and her navigation of an industry notoriously difficult for actresses, particularly as they age. Her ability to maintain a successful career on her own terms, choosing interesting roles and avoiding the typical pitfalls of typecasting, earned his respect both during their collaboration and in the years following. Costner's appreciation for Russo reflects his broader respect for women who maintain their authenticity in an industry that often pressures them to conform to limited expectations, noted the cultural historian. Throughout his career, he has consistently been drawn to actresses who bring a clear sense of self to their work, women who, like Russo, refuse to be diminished or simplified by Hollywood's often reductive approaches to female characters. Their collaboration in Tin Cup created one of the most believable and satisfying romantic pairings in Costner's filmography, a relationship that audiences could invest in because both characters maintained their essential identities while finding genuine connection. This balance is precisely what Costner has sought throughout his career, making Russo a particularly valued partner in creating authentic on-screen romance.
You came down here? You knew what you were doing. You knew this would happen.
7. Joan Allen, the transformative partner. When Kevin Costner starred opposite Joan Allen in 2005's The Upside of Anger, he found himself in an unusual position, playing a supporting role to Allen's tour-de-force performance as a bitter, alcoholic mother of 4 daughters dealing with abandonment. This willingness to step back and allow Allen to dominate the film's emotional landscape revealed Costner's deep respect for her talents and his confidence in their shared chemistry, despite the non-traditional power dynamic. Costner has said the film worked because Joan brought gravity to every second, noted a critic who interviewed him during the film's release. This acknowledgement is particularly meaningful coming from an actor who had built his career as the center of his films. With Allen, he recognized that her extraordinary performance would elevate the entire project, including his own work as the semi-retired baseball player who becomes involved with her character. This recognition manifested in Costner's approach to their scenes together. Rather than attempting to match Allen's intensity or redirect focus to his character, he created a perfectly calibrated supporting performance, relaxed, charming, and centered enough to provide a counterbalance to Allen's volatile emotional states while never undermining her position as the film's true protagonist. One of his most underrated performances, and he credits her for it, observed the film historian. What makes Costner's work in The Upside of Anger particularly notable is how generously he plays off Allen's lead. There's no attempt to compete for attention or emotional dominance in their scenes. Instead, he creates a character whose calm center provides the perfect complement to her turbulent emotional journey, allowing her performance to shine even more brightly. Costner has been unusually forthright about how working with Allen transformed his own approach to acting in this film. In interviews, he acknowledged that her commitment to emotional truth in every moment inspired him to find new depths in his own performance, creating a character with more nuance and vulnerability than many of his more conventional leading man roles had allowed. She made him better, and he knew it, said the acting coach familiar with both performers' work. What's remarkable about Costner's relationship with Allen is his complete comfort in acknowledging her influence on his performance. There's no ego-driven need to present himself as the primary creative force. Instead, he speaks with genuine appreciation about how her extraordinary talent created a space where he could discover new aspects of his own craft. This mutual elevation created one of the most authentic on-screen relationships in either actor's filmography, a middle-aged romance between 2 damaged people that avoids both sentiment and cynicism in favor of messy, complicated truth. Critics noted that their scenes together had a lived-in quality rarely captured in Hollywood romances, particularly those involving stars of their generation. Costner's appreciation for Allen speaks to his evolving understanding of partnership in film, explained the cultural analyst. Earlier in his career, his leading man roles often positioned him as the active hero with female characters supporting his journey. With Allen, he embraced a more balanced dynamic where both characters' emotional journeys carried equal weight, creating a more mature and ultimately more satisfying on-screen relationship. This evolution reflects Costner's growing appreciation for actresses who bring complexity and authenticity to their roles, qualities Allen exemplifies in every performance. His willingness to publicly credit her influence on his work demonstrates a security in his own status that allows him to celebrate his female colleagues' contributions without feeling diminished by their success. The Allen-Costner partnership represents a particularly mature approach to on-screen romance, concluded the film critic. Rather than relying on conventional attractiveness or romantic cliches, they created a relationship grounded in mutual recognition of each other's flaws and strengths. Costner's admiration for Alan's ability to bring such unvarnished truth to every moment highlights his appreciation for actresses who prioritize authenticity over glamour, a value that has guided his choice of leading ladies throughout his remarkable career.